discovered that they're changing my voice. So I came across some of these pictures at almost exactly the same time, and then later on I came across some other pictures that resembled. So it's important to note that central to this whole process is the idea of who's impressing who, especially when it comes to dating, right? Sexual control and who's appealing to who is very central in their religion. That's why idolatry is called adultery and prostitution, right? Prostituting themselves to other ideas, right? Idols, ideals, idol, right? A doll, a dumb female just following the crowd, right? Barbie doll, what have you. See, that's a story for another day there. I'll put in the comments. I want to make this brief here. So, what a nice-hearted, think about the most nice-hearted island female, Hawaiian, Filipino, that you can imagine. What a nice-hearted, attractive island female is to the average male who's heterosexual and who has sense. Okay? What that is nothing compared to what Christ is to a female who's heterosexual and has sense. What the top martial artist is. Okay? That's me. Tall, dark, and handsome, light-skinned, black person, mulatto person, striking at world record speed, far more handsome than every other person. Okay? Just putting a light on the stand, making it clear for people. I'm not cocky, what have you. One can't be the top martial artist and be a deluded, cocky person. They have to be realistic with themselves about how good they are, about what they need to do, what their weaknesses are, making them strengths, what have you. Okay? So if a female had sense, they would be swept off their feet into next week by me. And that's central in why these people are lashing out. They're not lashing out of jealousy alone. They're lashing out first and foremost because they're monsters. They're the type of people who, if they don't get everything they want, like a spoiled, rich English royal or something, that they'll flip out and start abusing people. So if it's not, Christ, it's something else. Before I was born, they were flipping out, doing rituals on people and torturing them. The problem is there are lunatics who are encouraged by other lunatics, and people are not coming together and forcing them to look deep into themselves and to see themselves for who they are. They're not forcing them to put themselves to put them in a situation. They're not creating a situation where they have to choose between massacring the whole world or something, or all of America or something, or changing their ways. And so the problem continues. So when you think about the gentle touch of the top martial arts ever possible, the spirit of love resonating through me, it's very straightforward why they're zapping my brain. They're jealous. Now, they've been jealous of a lot of people all throughout history, and doing it their way is the worst idea in the world. These are monsters who make sure that people put pictures that were unnecessary. There's one female who, she was stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend. In the title, they put that she was raped until her throat, was ripped out or something like this. That's not what happened. But they put that as a screenshot of the video picture. And I'm sure they must have done it with the other videos like that too. Okay, and they're posting these screenshots of people who murder these females, and at least in that video they lied about how they died, and they probably lied in the other ones for effect, because these are lunatics, and they did it aiming at me first and foremost, because they knew that I'm making a big fuss about their rape by deception and their rape culture. To say that society has a rape culture is putting it lightly. Okay, America is one of the most rape-filled places in human history. And just because people want to give America a PR lift and try to make it look good and try to make it so that psychopaths are proud when they wave the American flag, doesn't mean that they shouldn't be honest about it. They should be very honest about it, and they should scramble to fix it. They should hire way more police officers, groups that regulate police officers, to stop gang stalking, build more prisons and rehabs, you name it, process rape kits, what have you. Okay, so how do we know that the Hunger Games connection is solid and that it is aimed at me? It's aimed at black people. It's aimed at people who might be more sincere Christians or Muslims or Jews or Buddhists or anyone who is more likely to care about human beings, right? People are more compassionate, have more empathy, have their humanity more intact than the average, what have you. Well, let's look at the numbers here. So every year, 9 million people starve to death and die of hunger-related issues, and I bring that up all the time. Well, let's look at the numbers here. Every year, 9 million people starve to death or die of hunger-related issues, and I bring that up all the time. Now, why is that now? Now, keep in mind, I posted a picture with the Hunger Games some years back, in like 2019 or something. Okay, and I connected it to the starvation in Nigeria. My dad came here during the Nigerian Civil War with as many as 3 million people are said to have died. Hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million, are said to have starved to death. Okay, maybe even 2 million. So how do they get to that 9 million number? Why is it 9 million? Well, in Africa, 300 million people face chronic hunger. They live in a situation where they are chronically hungry, okay, because of the dynamic of the world. Now, there are many organizations in the world. There's 52 million millionaires and billionaires in the world. And they have different organizations, right? Corporate alliances, governments, right? NATO, the World Health Organization, the World Bank, okay, the BRICS nations. They have various organizations, right? Social clubs, Freemasonry, various groups. And they sit there and they discuss things. So why do they constantly ignore the social, political, and economic implications of black people being disproportionately sabotaged and killed? Okay, because when you're chronically hungry, it also affects your ability to think, which affects your score on an IQ test. So they'll bring up IQ tests very commonly. They'll bring up the scores and the racial disparities, but they won't bring up the underlying causes, because they have some kind of an understanding, at least, and more likely a direct pact in an agreement to play stupid about the sabotage of black people, because they have an uncanny ability to kind of come into the spotlight and be respected. Look at the comedians, look at the first minority president being black, and so on and so forth. Okay? So people play stupid about it, and they act like some kind of sniveling worm, because they lack the kind of basic humanity and the basic ability to kind of visualize things to see why it's wrong to be a selfish worm. Keep in mind, in recent years, they've drastically reduced the heterosexual appeal of people. So the people doing this to some degree are disproportionately gay, they're disproportionately LGBT. And so we have these certain nerd types of people, right? These inbred kind of royals from Europe. We have certain types of people, these kind of frat-like Freemasons, these weird fraternity-like people. And we know historically they're described as worthless and foolish and contemptible. Look up the definition of nerd. You'll get those explanations, those descriptions, those definitions. And so we know they're not good at life. They're not good at looking at a situation and saying, what should I do? They're not good at critical thinking. Their brain suffers from a lack of having good executive function, right? When it comes to executive function, they are rather lacking. And so they come up with these bogus plans that they think makes them look good. But they've always looked bad. In my lifetime especially, I can very much speak for that people view these people as idiots, as governing class monsters that starve people to death, that exploit people, especially people in Africa. So people aren't like, hey, why would that be? When it comes to the IQ test, they're like, look, you sabotaged them. And if they do their research, college level research, for example, they see that they are suffering from chronic hunger and they're massacring these people, and there's all kinds of side effects. One of the major causes of, dysfunction in the brain, and generational dysfunction, biological dysfunction, is hunger, is nutrition, a lack of good nutrition. And then there's stuff in the food, processed food, and who disproportionately consumes these things? It is people of color, especially black people. So they put a special emphasis on exploiting black people and sabotaging them and starving them to death. Now, when you look at one of the root causes that it states for the chronic hunger, it says climate change. And the word mate is in the word climate change, and a huge part of Western culture is rape by deception. Zeus, the main deity of Western culture, if you will, is a deity of rape by deception, right? Zeus and his Roman counterpart Jupiter, and the culture is neo-Roman. Even Gavin Newsom the other day was describing how he thought that it was so great that they got their culture from Rome, and so on and so forth. And keep in mind, I'm a firm believer that the best thing for everybody, including America, is for people to be honest about these things. The word racist is like the word rapist. And America has all kinds of technology. It's like the technology capital of the world, because so much money goes into that technology. And Trump famously went out of his way to make it so a lot of the corporations are going to build here, the data centers, what have you. And so there's all these technologies that they're using for rape by deception. So look it up, right? The word racist is like the word rapist. And America is perhaps the child molestation capital of the world. Think about it very carefully before you think I'm wrong. And it's the rape by deception capital of the world. It's the gang stalking capital of the world. Okay. It is the rape by coercion capital of the world because of their technologies and how far they go to do so. People are being coerced, all over the world into next week, right? But it's the third most populated country in the world, and they have the most kind of sophisticated network of rape by deception on the planet. I don't know what really goes on in China, but it's safe to say that it goes beyond it because we have more technologies here. Okay, and because people are taught that they're free more than they are in China, and so therefore there is a greater need for in the minds of sick people to use technology to coerce them. So America, therefore, logically speaking, with a universal scale, is the rape by coercion capital of the world when you do it relative to the default state of the population, their desire to be free, their belief that they're free, what have you. So it's the child molestation capital of the world, it's the advanced torture capital of the world, it's the rape by deception capital of the world. When it comes to forcible rapes, it's a little bit harder to determine, but we can see that that is a problem, and it's a huge problem. And anyone covering this up is just covering up for mass rapists, and that's not, that's inhuman for people to do that. That's very evil, very sick, it's very deranged, right? They're unhinged, they're just very sick people.